in case people don't know, in case they don't have the background, Commercial Street was the main street of the town of North Springfield. That's how
Correct.
it got its start.
1870 to 1887. Of course, the first train came in April of 1870, and the rest is history, as
Yeah.
they say.
So if you worked for the railroad in those early years, you lived right there in North Springfield, and that's
Yep.
why we have a division street, because it divided the two communities.
And why we have Central Street,
Yeah.
because it connects our two communities.
Well, it's an homage to both of them not trusting the other.
Hello.
Because it's halfway between the two business districts, and so everything that had to do with city, county, state, or federal offices, neither business group had an undue advantage over it.
Well, we've grown out of that.
Going
We're
beyond
all
that.
one big happy family now in Center City. You know that.
I know.
Silly boy.
But interesting, fun stories, fascinating stories
Yeah.
about.
Yeah, the blue collar workers lived on the north side of the tracks basically, and came and did their work with the work on the rails. And in Midtown and south of Commercial, there were a lot of business owners.
The one thing I wish was still there,
Yeah.
the one thing that I think would be cool if it was, is up there where the tie yard is, west or east of Washington Street. There was a big roundhouse.
No, roundhouse, yeah.
A big roundhouse there where all
Yeah.
the steam engines would go into those garages kind of, and then come out and be put on the track headed the right direction.
They could turn any direction,
Yeah, there
couldn't
was
they?
a
They could turn
pivot
all the way
point.
around,
Pivot-
360.
Yeah, pivot point in the middle of it.
And the foundry that's just on the other side of the Jefferson Avenue footbridge, which hopefully by the end of the year will be back up again. You know, at one point in time, they cast every part of a steam locomotive in that old foundry over there, which is a pretty spectacular
Yeah.
structure. Underutilized so far, but
Yeah.
we think some people have some plans for
All the
that.
city's water came out of a reservoir that was over there, just north of the tracks.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Yeah.
It's over by Baptist Bible College. Is that? I mean,
In that area,
currently
yeah.
it would be over in
Yeah.
that area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So lots of interesting stuff.
Yeah.
Lots of interesting
Yeah.
stuff.
Still to this day.
Yeah, yeah,
Maybe
fascinating.
more interesting in a lot of ways today with our international cuisine and all the
Yeah.
fun events and.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's amazing to me that Commercial Street has seemed to have blossomed as
Yeah.
far as it's.
Lots of
Well, as a
destinations.
boy, I can remember Mike's Drive-In and just a few other places down through there, and there was not a lot of variety in what was offered. And now you've got Dutch and you've got
Well, if you
French.
started Jefferson with Lebanese, at Lebanese place, and then Van Gogh's right next door to that, and of course then we've got Pizza Houses, you can call that Italian, and now we've got the La Rue, which is the Cajun French
Right.
restaurant, and then Cafe Cusco's Peruvian, and of course you gotta call out Big Mama's and Lindbergh's for their local flavors, because
Got a
goodness,
deli.
they know what they're doing.
Yeah,
We've got
deli coffee shop
sandwiches
type
down there at
thing.
Moon City Pub, and
Lindbergh.
and then we've got the tea room,
Yeah.
vintage Miss Gilmore's tea room, and they've got great food up at Eurasia Coffee and Company and Culture Boutique Hotel, and I mean mercy, I hardly leave the street. There's so
Yeah.
much to eat.
Yeah.
So much to eat in so little time.
Yeah, and it's so interesting that they've opened these places with such a variety, and yet they haven't impacted the buildings, and that's what I love. Is the buildings that are up there, the buildings that when you drive down Commercial Street, with the exception of the signage, those buildings are the way they've always been.
It is an intact local and
Yeah.
federal registered district, a historic district. And I think, for 6 blocks long, and you're exactly right. And we are, for the first time, we've got new construction right at the corner, catty corner from Lindbergh's at Campbell and Commercial by Vicino Group, the Sankofa project. And it's going to be a gorgeous building, and it's going to fit. It's going to reference the existing architecture, but in a way that I think is is really just going to boost the whole area.
Right.
So we're real excited about that. It's definitely coming out of the ground. If you haven't seen that lately,
No, yeah,
going to be very important project for us.
But it's it's so neat because when you look at the other business district through the middle of town, through the square, because Route 66 came through there was such a drive and such a push to modernize
Right.
that, and so they put
Right.
different faces on the buildings, and they tore them down, or they tore all of the architectural features off of them and made them very plain with bigger windows and so on and so forth, so that they did so much structural change that it's just not the same.
Well, and what's interesting too is the architectural style up on Commercial Street. They were so proud of the original builders of the structures. They wanted the construction techniques to be the most modern and the strongest that they could of the time. And actually it predated. They were 20 years ahead of their time for the architectural style, when you consider that most of them were built between 1880 and 1900, but it's actually 1920s architecture
Right.
in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and they are incredibly well built. The buildings are usually 3 brick,
Yeah, sturdy.
Very
sturdy.
Very proud of them.
And we've been talking about the architecture and about the restaurants, which is kind of close to my heart.
And eclectic shopping. We've got really some wonderful, cool shops of all different home goods, vintage jewelry, clothing, flowers, balloons.
Yeah.
You name it, you can find it up there.
Pastries, all that.
Pastries.
Pastries is
Oh,
mighty
oh,
fine.
mercy, pastries, Blue Heron, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So there, and then I tell you, the sandwiches at Big Mama's, that's where, I do a lot of lunch.
If you haven't tried their soup, you're missing
Yeah.
out too. My
Yeah.
goodness, yeah.
Very good. Now, Commercial Street has its own, I don't want to say Chamber of Commerce because it's not, but they've got their own little group, the Commercial Club.
Commercial Club of Springfield has been around since about 1900, early 1900s. And the Commercial Club is more involved in the heritage and the culture and the arts and the community at large, like the neighborhood, larger things like we've done. The C Street City Market grew out of Commercial Club and is now its own 501c3. Commercial Club raised $50,000 for the Jefferson Avenue footbridge renovations currently happening. We're also now working, Pride Fest is coming, I think in September, later in September. But we also have the Community Improvement District, which we get a tiny little piece of the sales tax, and that's for clean, safe, and friendly and promotions of the district. And then there's the Merchants Group, and they meet every Wednesday morning, and they handle their own promotions that happen on a daily basis or weekly basis. And so the 3 groups work together because they all have a different focus. And I think I attribute the success of the 3 groups working together for the momentum that you were talking about earlier in the program.
Yeah.
Because Commercial Street, or we call it C Street or Uptown, has really evolved, and it's just gotten more exciting every day. And I know as Commercial Club, we have been focused for as long as I've been involved, which is quite a long time. But I started when I was 5.
Mm-hmm.
So to make sure that we had a family-friendly environment, and families, kids, pets has always been our focus. And you can see that now just on a daily basis. The people that come up and do what we call the C Street stroll, because you can come to Commercial Street. If you don't have a dime in your pocket, you can still come and just walk up and down the street. There are places to sit in the shade. Oftentimes there's somebody outside busking and playing music, or just people chatting, and there are usually things happening that aren't necessarily promoted. And you can go to Historic C Street on Facebook, and anything that is happening that is promoted is there. And all of the shops welcome everybody, and they promote one another, and it's just a really lively environment. And I think it's unique, has its own personality, and style and flavor, I think, and I think it's just so welcoming to such a diverse group of people, young and old and black, yellow, white. I mean, everybody's welcome. Everybody embraces all the culture that we have. We have a culture fest coming up as well. So there are lots and lots of events and activities. Little something for everybody.
Yeah, and it's not. This isn't new. This isn't reconstructed.
No, it's historic.
It's amazing because I can remember as a boy going up there and just taking a lap down one side of the street and back up the other.
It's exactly a mile when you do that if you want to get your steps in.
And just the places that were there, like Addison's, like the old bookstore, and the
Corner Cafe,
the hobby shop, and where they had all the model airplanes and everything in the windows and stuff, and just places that goodness knows what was in them. You really didn't know. But as a boy, just fascinated, walking along,
soda fountain at Cranks,
looking in the windows and seeing what was in there, and just watching as you went down the street.
Did you see your first radio flyer in the window at Rathbones?
I don't know if it was my first one, but there was always one there that I wanted. Yeah. I mean, Rathbones, we've got pictures back in the 20s of that same store, just like it is today.
Yeah, that's it.
And a lot of the merchandise.
And Tim was still there back then too, wasn't he?
But yeah, it's amazing. But I mean, even in the late 50s, when I'd be walking down there as a kid, it was an amazing. It was an exotic place to me.
Yeah, well, and that's a really great word for it, and I think that fits some of the storefronts we have now. We have the new, it's American Heritage is a brand new store. They produce a lot of their products, and they handle a lot of different products. And right next door is a Christmas store.
Yeah.
It's and
I looked in the window of it the other day.
Yeah, and it's amazing. I mean, although I do think they've got some Michael Jackson's decorations on the trees because Thriller's coming up in October, and of course we'll be trick or treating and
participates in that.
Yeah, Thriller, every year.
But it was so crazy because they had at that time they had a live music theater there. They also had a movie theater on Commercial Street, and one, if I remember right, around the corner on Boonville.
Mulligan. Yeah.
Mulligan,
there were 5 theaters on C Street at the turn of the century.
Yeah, it's amazing. Deemers and
Princess.
Yeah.
Deemers. Yeah, Deemers was right next to the Jefferson Avenue footbridge. Pearl White, Perils of Pauline.
That's where she started.
Her first job was there. Yeah.
She was in their theater company and was an usher.
Yep, and Bonnie and Clyde had their car worked on at the garage. It's down there in what we call now the Do Good lot. Part of a Vecino Group. That was an automotive shop, and they had their car worked on there.
Yeah. It's astounding, just astounding. And then the big hotel down there that's now all closed up, but the big hotel and then the garage behind it, the parking area and everything. It's amazing, just amazing.
Was Missouri Hotel, was that the Green Tavern back then?
Green Tavern,
Yeah, we're hoping to see some action in the Missouri Hotel someday.
Me too.
I'm getting kind of tired of waiting, but
me too.
That's all you can do.
Yeah, that's very true. All right, but but those kinds of things, and then all the stories about the different unique people that were up there.
Well, how do you mean that, John?
Well, it depends on which end of the street. If you're on the east end of the street, it would be unique in one way, and on the west end of the street, it'd be unique on another.
Where the pool hall was down on the west end. Of course, Lindbergh's was there. Lindbergh's is Springfield's oldest tavern, right there on the corner at Campbell and
see the Tractor Supply place that was right across the street. That was the WW Recreation. That's where I learned to play pool.
That was the pool hall. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. So what's in the future? What does the future hold for Commercial Street? What's next on there?
Well, of course, the big story is, of course, the Jefferson Avenue footbridge, the roughly $15 million project that is currently underway, Brandco Construction. We are working with the city to have a giant celebration. It's going to be the first weekend in May. I mean, we are actually fortunate to be being included in the nationwide celebration of Route 66 because Springfield is a Route 66 city. It's not just one little street.
Yeah.
And so we're very, very, very excited about some of the things we're talking about for a celebration of the footbridge. That's the weekend of Arts Fest, and there's just going to be so much going on. I think it's going to make your head spin, but in a good way.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
that's a big picture, the most exciting thing on the plate. But then, we're getting ready for the Christmas. Halloween is coming up, and Thriller on C Street, which is the Michael Jackson parade that goes, 250 zombies.
Incredible show. My
Not to be
granddaughter's done it
missed.
for years. She loves it.
Not to be missed.
No.
So that's coming up in October. Of course, we've got the C Street City Market is on Tuesdays and Thursdays and Saturdays. Thursdays in the
we
evening.
go up on Saturday.
Saturday.
It's usually busy.
Yeah, that's all day. Pride Fest is coming up in September. In October, there's a sip and shop. But as I said, Historic C Street on Facebook page for all of those things. And for the Jefferson Avenue Footbridge, Commercial Club is selling memorial pavers, and you can actually go again to either Friends of the Footbridge on Facebook or Historic C Street and purchase a small paver, brick size paver, or the larger one that's about twice that size for and those will be placed in the Footbridge Plaza after the renovations are complete. And I anticipate some really exciting design features of the plaza area and C Street City Market Pavilion as well. But golly, just
Now that's the other thing. There are some venues up there that aren't. There's great places to go eat and things like that, places to shop. But there are also some interesting artistic kind of venues.
Christine Schillings.
Yeah.
She calls it her urban zoo, and of course she's our mosaic artist. The mosaics on the street. We have a sculpture collection. There is a little walking tour brochure for the sculpture collection. Randy Bacon and Heidi Herman Bacon. Their studio, they have just purchased a new building. I should say they have purchased an old building. And they have done a beautiful job restoring it.
Yeah.
And their studios are twin studios next door to each other, and they live upstairs. So you'll have to check that out. They're right at the crosswalk there at Big Mama's. That's very exciting. We've got some new sculptures, and I think we're going to get one of the Route 66 sculptures that are happening. They're going to be all around town. Basically the mosaics alleyways tell the story of C Street.
Because there's parking behind on both the north and south side of the street. There's parking behind the street itself.
Right, there's more parking. Most of our city lots are on the south side of the street.
But who came up with the design? Whose brainchild was those little alleyways and how they've been decorated with
those are the mosaics.
The mosaics on the ground, and also there's statues and things. It's so creative.
Well, Commercial Club has done the sculptures for a number of years, and we had an open air sculpture gallery. We had competitions, national competitions, and some of the sculptures were purchased through that. But the mosaics are Christine Schilling, Mosaic a Rose, and the pathways. That was her concept. I was very involved. I helped with the design as well as the installation. But she has an army of friends and interested artists, and it takes a lot of people. But the process that she uses is very unique because they're embedded and it's upside down when you just put it in the ground. And when you design it, and then you have to flip it, and it's she's an amazing artist, much underappreciated for her stature. She's done mosaics all over the world, actually, and we're very proud. She's got lots of little pieces. There's one on the building back behind, right at Boonville. There are some lovebirds right there, and there's Cafe Cusco has a little trailing
Right.
Cusco, like the lines in by Lima, and there's a little heart out in front of the Savoy Ballroom. There are little trains over by the footbridge, but there are a lot of little mosaics, lots of little surprises everywhere, all up and down the street, and of course the sculpture in the alleyway, the champagne alley, because it's got champagne bottles and in the actual mosaics, and with the Dr. Tickle sculpture. That's real fun. And we're getting a couple of new sculptures when we're working with the sculpture walk downtown.
Yeah.
And we're going to have a couple of new sculptures, a couple more every year. We should have some new sculptures.
You mentioned Dr. Tickle. For those of you who don't know, you want to enlighten them about Dr. Tickle?
Well, it's kind of a funny story because they moved here from California and they bought a building, and on the second floor it had a gold leaf logo of a mustache, and it said it was actually Dr. Tickle. There was a Dr. Tickle. So Gary, who had a small pencil, one of those pencil thin, like a Poirot kind of a mustache.
Nice.
Yeah, and so he started becoming Dr. Tickle. People called him Tickle and Dr. Tickle. Come to find out, his family and Amy's family, they actually ended up being related to Dr. Tickle. They found out their homesteads were like next to each other, like in I don't know, Nevada, or I don't know where it was, Oklahoma, wherever it was. The Dr. Tickle's spread was not right next door to Gary Waldrop's.
Was a physician.
Yeah.
And Gary took over playing Dr. Tickle.
He became he became the Tickle. But there's an interesting story. There's an artesian well inside there that in his building on the ground floor that they had capped off so that they could use that space. That was featured in the News Leader years ago. It was many years ago. But he was quite a colorful character.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
Very, very colorful.
Yeah.
And lots of fun to be around.
Lots of, and I will say, there are a lot of colorful characters on C Street, and we're very proud of that.